Hi everyone, welcome back to Brickloft. It's a long time since I've done a set review, a set video. This isn't technically a vintage set. It depends how you look at where vintage ended. This set is from 1992. It is set 6075, the Wolfpack Tower. And this was known as the Wolf's Island Lair in the UK. And it looks like quite a large set, but it's only got 236 pieces. It does have 4 minifigs, and like I say, it was released in 1992. And Wolfpack has become quite a popular theme in classic Lego. Only 3 Wolfpack sets were ever released, which is a bit unfortunate. This was the largest of the 3. There were Wolfpack figures in other sets, usually as hostages, prisoners, but just 3 official sets. You do get the glow-in-the-dark ghost with this one, which I'll show you later on. And inside, this box is in really nice shape, by the way. Inside you can see all the pieces all laid out, as was the norm with these old sets. Really beautiful. So I'll get this built up and I'll see you in just a bit. Okay, so here's our finished model, and it's built on a 16x32 blue base plate. And it's really nice. Lots of nice features to this. Lots of things I don't like about this, a few things I do like about it, but let's start by showing you the minifigures, and then I'll show you some of the features of this set. So here's our 4 minifigures, and I've just set these up with the weapons that they're shown with on the box. So we've got our first 2 Wolfpack figures here, and these are identical. So we've got the guy on the left with his grey crossbow. This is old grey, of course, and a guy on the right. Maybe these guys are twins, I don't know. The guy on the right with his brown axe or halberd, and they've both got identical red cloaks or capes. Lovely Wolfpack torso. So it's a shame they didn't make more of these, but lots of different factions in classic Lego. They've both got these nice brown hood pieces. A bit like what the old peasant figures wore. And then a slightly different one, and maybe he's the leader. He's got his black eye patch. Different coloured pants, trousers. He's got his long sword, and he's got a nice Wolfpack shield. And then our 4th minifigure is the ghost, and it's a glow-in-the-dark ghost. I'll try and show you that. So if I dip down to my desk and shine the light on this, you can just see the glow there, and it doesn't last very long. It starts to wear off. But the best way to activate this is to shine a really bright light at it, and you get that glow. But it's a nice thing. And these ghosts were eventually replaced with the non-glow-in-the-dark ones, but it's a nice figure to have. So 4 really nice minifigures with this set. Let's show you the set then. So yeah, it's a nice looking set. It's not huge. Just have quite a few moving parts and features to it. Starting at the front here, we've got this lovely bridge. It's supposed to be an island. So if you were a kid, you set this up surrounded by water, maybe surrounded with more blue base plates if you've got them. Blue pieces. I'll put a blue cloth down. Lots of lovely old scenes you used to make in the old castle line, but you've got very simple drawbridge here. It's just hinge plates. And you come across the bridge into this gatehouse here. Got a nice decorated panel piece on here, that's the only one, the rest are just black. On top of here we've got 1 minifigure stood. There's no real easy ways to get to some of these parts, but we've got a little battlement on the side here. This whole section is one of these big ugly rock pieces, these burp pieces. This whole section opens up to reveal the cave inside. And then around the other side as well, we've got a smaller one. Not a big fan of these big pieces, but they used them quite a lot in the early 90s and into the mid-90s, I think, to save money to build these sets, bigger sets. So you got large sets with less pieces in. Inside here, we've got another very strange sort of drawbridge. So this kind of moves up and drops down. Doesn't really move up to anywhere. Just, you can move it. There's a small opening back there, just where the black panel pieces are. And then underneath, you've got your treasure chest, which I'll try and get out. And inside the treasure chest, as was the norm with these classic castle sets, they just give you the idea of some gold. It's just some yellow 1x1 round plates. Lego gold was around at this time, but for some reason they just left it in the pirate sets. So that just sits nicely in there. Coming up to the next level, when you come through the main gate there, there's a ladder that you can move. That drawbridge, you can drop it back down again. It's really strange. So you've got a ladder that moves up and down here. It gives you access to the tower on the back where the ghost hangs around. And then we've got another ladder here that moves up and down. Presumably this is to access this tower, or also just as a gate. It's strange. No real obvious way of getting up here. Very small area up here to stand on. You can put a minifigure on here. I guess you could stand somebody on here, but there's no real usable space inside to put people other than down, I guess, in the water or on this little drawbridge place here. So that's a little bit disappointing. You do have this space here, a little battlement, but it's a very strange set. Nice details with the lanterns here, and there's another one at the back there. A really nice printed flag piece. The camera wants to actually focus. Doesn't want to focus for some reason. But you've got a nice printed Wolfpack flag. There we go. I like these red roof pieces, and these are built up with a very unusual piece that you may not have seen very often. It's a black, almost gives you like a 90-degree angle. I'll show you that. Yeah, it's a unusual sort of angled slope piece. Camera's being a bit funny to me with me today. Sorry, apologies. I don't know why I can't quite get this to focus. There we go. You can probably just see that. And it has studs underneath, and then studs on the side, and you can just build that up and use that for. It's not a piece you see very often. Quite a rare piece, but it's a very, very cool piece. So there we go. That is our Wolfpack Island Lair. Our Wolfpack Tower. You do get, obviously, I forgot to mention as well, you get a grey parrot. You do get one of those with the old Wolfpack set as well, which I'll do a separate video on. But yeah, really nice set. Let's have a look at the instructions and I'll show you the box. Quite large instructions, A4 size. A bit unusual, they give you alternate bills on the front of the instruction booklet. So you've got this larger castle they've managed to build out of all these pieces, which is really nice. And then another one here with a very large gatehouse and a tower, balcony tower overlooking that gatehouse. And looks like they're climbing up the side of something here. It's quite unusual, this artwork. But yeah, you usually see alternate builds on the front of a catalogue. And here's your minifigures. And I thought this was interesting. I don't know if I've really noticed this before, but the first step, they give you all the pieces to build the first step and how they go, but they're not in the rest. Whether this is the start of them doing this for instructions going forward, where they show you which pieces you need for each step, I don't know. But It's a very simple build. It only took me about 15 minutes just to build this up. Quite large pieces, like I say. And there's your finished model at the end. So I also got with this, this was quite a recent acquisition. You probably saw it in one of the haul videos I did recently. I also got with this service pack, which is not something you get every day. And this is a fold out one. Sometimes these are just booklets. This all folds out. It's quite long. And I'll show you some of the things that you could get. You've got these amazing trays and cabinets to store with. Look at these are amazing. These are printed pieces that you could just buy separately. But they weren't cheap. So you notice they're all lettered up. So this is D. And at the end of the service pack you get a price list. And it's prices for each country. So D was £3.30. £3.30 for these pieces here. And then there's battery packs, all sorts of different things. More amazing printed pieces here. Look at these are great. Wow. Accessory packs. Amazing castle accessory pack there. That's B. So that was £2.20 in the UK. For all those bits, that seems fairly reasonable by today's prices. Also pirate accessory packs. Motors. Fabulous stuff. That's how you did it back in the day. You used to send off these pieces by mail order. Brilliant, okay. And I also got a catalogue. Now this is a 1994 catalogue, so I can only assume this set was still available in 1994. So a quick skim through this, I won't go through it. Belleville. I don't know what you think of Belleville. Very, very strange. Almost like weird, scary dolls in this. Paradiser was pretty cool. Some amazing pieces in Paradiser. That set there is amazing. Really fabulous base plate with it. We've got Town. That was new for 1994, that airport. Shuttle. Pretty cool. Love these scenes. Some nice town sets. I suppose this was probably just before Lego started to go off the rocks a bit. Some nice sets there. I seem to remember we used to have this one when we were kids. Lovely sail piece on that little dinghy there. That's a pretty cool set. Fire stations, police stations, weird looking light and sound police van. Really cool octane garage. That's nice. Wow. Metroliner, and this was brilliant. Don't have this unfortunately, wish I did. The fantastic old 9-volt train. Why did you stop making that Lego? I don't know why. Love these train scenes. And you could get just a truck. Just they used to just make just add-ons for trains. Why can't they do that anymore? Makes no sense. Even a level crossing. Some boats, floating boats, pirate sets. That set's amazing. That boat, not so much. Beautiful pirate ship there. And I think this is Islanders, I can't remember. The sub-theme of the pirate. Look at this scene now. That's wonderful. Castle. Alright, so the Wolfpack set was still available, so that explains why this catalogue is in here. This was called Castle Carrag in the UK. I think it's the fire-breathing fortress. Do have a few of these. Another amazing castle there. Very expensive now. Lovely ship. Spirius, I don't really know much about. Robot's pretty cool. Space Police. An amazing monorail. We've got Ice Planet 2002. I guess this is what they thought was going to be going around in 2002, maybe. Another amazing scene. Model team, they were pretty cool. And there's some Technic sets. A really, really cool Technic car on the back, a big one. So it's always nice to have a quick skim through these. Let's have a very quick look at the box. Yeah, this is in a really nice shape. It's always nice to get intact, good condition box. There's our year. You've got the opening flap on the front. The same castles that were in the instructions. Got some other alternate bills on the back. It just shows you about the ghost there. Look how to shine the light on it to get it to glow. And this one's got a little boat, a little dock. It's quite nice. These are just showing you how the drawbridge works for the main set. And then we've got another one here. It's quite large. It seems very, very large actually for the pieces that you get, but that's actually really nice. So there's your alternate builds. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Sorry it's been so long since I did a classic set video. I will try and get back into them, do more. There's some really nice big sets to show you. Some more recent sets as well. We edge towards 500 subscribers. I'll start to get some of the big things out. There's a little reward. Excuse me, I'm full of cold today for some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, thanks for watching. Look out for another city video very, very soon. And thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already and you want to see more vintage, classic stuff, please do subscribe. And I'll see you all for another video really, really soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.